Hey, what's going on, team? T.Bailey here. And I wanted to make a video here just to kind of explain how to remain in control of your chats. Now, we all know I've provided you all with a conversation guide. So the conversation guide is that it's just a guide. So you need to expect that things are going to go off topic, off subject. Not everything's always going to fall into line of exactly how the conversation guide is laid out. So before you even start doing your chats, just expect that you're going to need to improvise. Improvising is going to be a key skill that you need to keep in mind that you'll be using when you're going through all these chats. So when people start chatting with you, it's very likely that you'll be talking to people that are already in another home-based business, whether it's online, offline, MLM, network marketing, affiliate marketing, direct sales, whatever it is. There's a big chance that you'll come across plenty of people that are already in another home-based business. So while you're having the chats with these individuals, it's important to keep in mind, like I said, that you will need to improvise on this conversation guide that I've provided you. So this conversation guide, it lays out very simply how to get from A to Z. But if at any point in time you lose control of the conversation could go in any direction. So it is very important to remain in control of the conversation. So, which leads us to the question, what exactly do you need to do to remain in control of the conversation at all times? Think about it. My answer, and I believe the best answer, is that the person asking the questions is in control of the conversation. Think about it. In any respectable conversation, if someone asks you a question, you're not going to blatantly ignore it. So the person asking the questions, as long as it's not an interrogation, you're not interrogating anyone, right? We're having real conversations. It's a conversation guide, not a script. If you use it as a script, you'd be interrogating all your prospects into what their vision is. And people want to feel like they are being connected, like they want to have a relationship with someone new. So when you're building your relationship, guys, it's important to form rapport. So to form rapport, you need to keep in mind that FORM is an acronym. FORM stands for family, occupation, recreation, motivation. So if you can touch on those 4 subjects, you've made a new friend and you're more likely to have a real conversation with your new friend. So keep in mind, guys, it's not an interrogation. You have to have a real conversation. That's why it's called a skeleton guide, because the questions are the bones of the conversation. It keeps it moving the direction that you'd like. But you need to add the meat to the bones to make it a person, to make it you, to make it a real conversation. And that means going with the flow of the discussion. So just for example, I'm going to try to role play with myself for you guys here. So I'm going to say hi to someone, right? When I say hi, they're going to say hey. And you need to get into really quick to form the rapport. So an icebreaker question I usually ask is, where are you from, or what's going on in your reality lately? So that's really an icebreaker, because you can't just say, hey, what's up, how's the family? I mean, you can, it's just not as smooth as it could be. So when you're going to make that icebreaker, I usually like to ask, hey, what's up? How are you? How's your day? They're going to reply. And if they reply to me and say, in response to ask me how I'm doing as well, I always make sure that I tell them I appreciate them asking, because people like to be appreciated. So then in response, I'll say, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I really appreciate that. What's up? Where are you from? Or, hey, what's up? What's going on in your reality lately? So asking a question like that is very simple. It's a very standard break the ice question. So once you've asked that, they reply, hey, I'm from California. Say, hey, man, that's great. What's up? Did you grow up there? Or did you move there with your family? Boom, we talked about family. So they say, oh, I grew up here with my family. That's great, man. You have any brothers and sisters? I know I have I have 2 twin sisters. They're pretty annoying. They're always asking me for money. So then you can kind of break the ice. You want to share a little bit about you and then end with a question. You always, if you have a question somewhere in your conversation, reword what you're about to say so the question's at the end, because people tend to respond to the last part of the message you sent. So when you send, hey, they respond, you tell them where you're from, they ask about the family. You say, hey, man, that's great. I have 2 little sisters always bugging me. Do you have any family that you still live with, or are you living on your own? So they say, oh, man, I'm on my own. It's like, oh, man, isn't it so much better living without your siblings? What do you do for a living? What do you do full time? I like to ask, what are you doing full time? It tends to be a more of a simple question to answer for a lot of people. When they answer, what do they do full time? If they tell you they're working their home-based business full time, that tells you they already likely have a lot of success in their home-based business, which is great. That doesn't disqualify them from our services. They may be looking for another stream of income online, which is something we can provide as well. So whatever they respond to doing full time, say, oh man, that's great. You know, how do you like it? You know, you want to talk a little bit about it, just briefly touch on it, get to know how they feel about what they do full time. Ask them how do they like to commute if they're going to the office. Ask them how it was that their dream job, or did you have to go to college for that? And then share a little about what you do before you ask that next question. So if someone says, hey, you know, I do door-to-door sales, whatever they say oh man, that's cool. I've actually done door-to-door sales in the past. I'm currently doing online sales now. Do you like door-to-door sales? How long have you been doing that? So then that kind of opens up opens the door for more conversation. They're going to answer, and then you're going to say, well, what do you do for fun when you're not working, man? You know, out here, or you want to spawn first with what you do for fun. So, oh yeah, man, when I'm not working, I usually like to, you know, go out and hang out with friends or go to parties or whatever you guys do for fun. It's make it personally to you. Be genuine at all times. It's important to remember to be genuine. If you're not genuine, people are going to see right through you, and they might continue the conversation, but they're never going to take you seriously. It's important to be genuine. So after you've talked about occupation, you're in step 2 of building form. You're going to ask them about what they do for fun. You know, what's there to do out there, this and that. And then you kind of want to touch on motivation. So like, man, you know, I understand you have this job. Do you like it? You know, what's your vision, man? How much money do you want to be making monthly online? Or if the conversation led to online. But you want to ask that question right there, because that's the last part of form. You got to talk about family, occupation, recreation, and that last part, motivation, is going to be this question. What's your vision? How much money do you want to make monthly? So if you keep in mind that it needs to come down to asking that question, it's easier to kind of lead the conversation down that route. So while you're having these little adders onto the conversation guide, you need to keep in mind that you need to get the conversation to that point as fast as possible while building your rapport. Because if you never build that rapport, no one's ever going to open up to you. They're never going to trust you enough to actually join your business, right? They're never going to join your team if they don't like, trust, or respect you. So the quickest way to open the door to establish like, trust, and respect is by establishing form. Talk about their family, occupation, recreation, and motivation. The last part, motivation, is the most important part in building form. If you never ask that question, what's your vision? How much money do you want to make monthly? You're never going to open their mind to what's really possible with working online and establishing another stream of income, or starting your first online business, or using our strategies to improve their current business, right? So if you never ask that question, you never actually open their mind to what's really possible, to what they'd really like to do, or it makes them think about how long they've settled, or, you know, there's a million things that question does for people. And if you never ask it, I guarantee you're going to struggle with getting through this conversation guide. Establishing rapport is the #1 most important part of the conversation guide. And I find that too often people are actually skipping that part because it's easier to get to the more scripted part of the guide. But the most important part is the part that's genuine to you. The most important part is sharing some of you to bring down their walls so they're more open to share with you and talk about the really deep stuff that you're asking them about towards the end of the conversation guide. So guys, keep in mind, super important to establish rapport. If you never build rapport, you're never going to make $1 online using our strategies. If you never build rapport, you're way better off paying for ads, but we all know the problems with paying for ads. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to struggle with paying for an ad budget every single month, and you're going to waste a lot of money learning the wrong way to do it. So guys, this has been a little bit about building rapport. Real quick before I go, I just had the thought, I also want to share just a brief overview. I'm going to share my screen, guys, of the conversation guide. I'm going to walk you through it very briefly. So let me find it here in my files. Conversation guide. So guys, building form, the first part we talked about has been just this. So this part right here, introducing yourself and building that rapport, is the most important part. So this is right here is just kind of a guide on how to add personal to you, genuine to you, some conversation. So after you've been able to ask the question, what's your vision? How much money do you want to make per month? Super important. You kind of open up the rest of the conversation guide. You can't move forward if you've never helped them create their vision. So guys, this part, don't waste your time, is just there for you to keep in mind that if they start talking about their business, you do not want to show enough interest to where they feel like you're their prospect. Because at all times, again, you need to remain the authority figure in your chats. So to remain and be the authority figure, you need to ask questions, because the person asking the questions is in charge of the conversation. So if you're not asking questions, you're the one that's becoming the prospect, and they think they are there to sell you, because our model isn't to talk about features and benefits. Our business, our strategy, our business model, using the strategies we have, it's to build the relationship before we even talk about the business. Guys, think about when you joined the business here. Was anyone ever saying we have the best strategies to connect with people and build rapport? No, we implemented them and you experienced it. You didn't actually talk about how good they are. You just implement it. So once you've actually got them visualizing their vision, try to get them to set a bigger goal, because the bigger the goal, the more likely they'll be successful out the gate. Because if someone comes in looking to make an extra $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month, sure, that could really help them, get out of debt or, get a little bit ahead. But that's a very small goal at what's really possible. So when people come in, we want them to really know what's possible, because it's better to fall short of a big goal than accomplish a small one. So guys, if they say a super high number compared to a small number, just simply ask, what would be something you can start making this month to get you in a great place? And then just keep moving forward, guys. You're about 70% done here already. If you've done everything right, it literally takes 10 to 20 minutes. Once you're comfortable and you've memorized the chat script, you don't have to keep going back and forth to refer to it. It doesn't take long at all to get to this point. So this is a big question here, guys. So if you made $10,000 this much, how would that make a difference in your life? Because now they're imagining themselves spending the money. They're putting themselves in the position, the mindset that what they would be doing once they have that. Because you and I both know it's possible once you start implementing our strategies. You'll see how efficient you can be if you consistently put in the effort to work on prospecting and sharing our business model and taking advantage of your resellers' rights of these strategies. So guys, this is an important question here, or important step here. It's a quote. People will do anything for the people that encourage their dreams, justify the failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. So guys, you don't literally have to share this quote, but this quote summarizes the next step. So if you can encourage them that their dreams and visions are worth working the extra mile for, and then you can assure them that it's not their fault they haven't been able to get there yet, and at the same time tell them that it's realistic and it's okay that there have been failures, that those are just lessons learned, and then all of a sudden you're confirming their suspicion, saying, you understand that there are bad business models out there, but this isn't one of them, because we're not going to be a hype business model. We've taken so much time building a relationship with the people that they know that we're not just the typical guy that copy and paste a sales script and it's on to the next. Just you taking the time to build a relationship shows the person what type of business model we're really in. So guys, at the end of this part here, it's super important that you don't leave it without a question. You need to ask them. You need to ask them what's so important to you about their dream or vision. If you don't ask them that, it's going to leave them the window to totally change the subject after you've allayed their fears. I mean, they're going to like, trust, and respect you immediately after you do this step. But you need to keep control of the conversation. If you don't, they're going to start taking control, and they're just thinking, wow, this guy's a stud. I need him on my team. If you don't ask this question, they're not going to look at you as the leader. So you need to be seen as the leader, the authority figure that's going to teach them the right way. So what's important about having to travel more, for example? So you go deeper on the emotional side. So once they answer what's so important to you about that, the next step is going even deeper into their goals and visions, because now that they've created their vision, which is the most important part, you need them to imagine what it's going to feel like to actually accomplish that. Because what you're doing for everyone as you go through these steps, guys, the way you need to think about it is you're helping people realize their dream visions and stuff, because so many people get caught up making a living that they don't have time to make a life. So what you need to do is help them realize what they'd like to do, encourage them to believe in that, and then get them to imagine how great it will feel once they accomplish that after they put in that extra mile. This whole process here is helping them justify putting in extra work, because at the end of the day, people that have jobs or people in graduating high school or going to college, they don't want extra work. No one wants to work extra anymore. So if you can help them establish their vision, you can help them realize why it's worth working and going that extra mile. Because too many people know what they don't want to do. You need to help people realize what they do want to do to make that extra work worth it in their head. So once you've established that, you're really about 85% done in the conversation where you've gotten through this. So you have a lot of info. You've never talked anything about any type of business at this point. You just got them so ready to accomplish their vision. They at this point, they expect that there's going to be some type of business opportunity on the back end here. But the difference between what we do and what other online opportunities do is that we didn't just spam them with a copy and paste message with a link at the end of it. We took time to get to know them. We had a real conversation, and we built rapport with them, which is important. So guys, you can copy this one part here. If you have, just shares examples of what's happened with our team. And then if they say yes, you want to send them, okay, watch a strategy overview. We'll share you the exact strategy, the 7-figure formula. Message me when you're done. Link. Then boom. You really want to disconnect from the conversation at this point. Don't let it just die. But you want to kind of disconnect. And if they keep asking questions, just say, hey, I'd be happy to answer questions after you've watched the strategy overview. I don't want to answer questions that are already in there. That's why we've prepared the strategy overview for you. So guys, it's very simple what to do. I just wanted to make this short video for you so you could have me personally walk you through the strategy overview as you're getting new and onto our team. So guys, it's T.Bailey here. I'm in my hometown, Patterson, California. I'm excited that you're getting started and watching this training. And feel free to reach out and private message me for any more questions that you might have on this subject. I'll talk to you guys later.